Hello, my name is Amy Rofail and I'm with the Jerusalem Connection Report, and this is your Friday Red Alert for November 6th. Today I'd like to talk about continue our discussion on media bias. That is, anti-Semitism or hatred for Israel demonstrated in the mainstream media, particularly the press and press reporting. A Palestinian activist, a proponent of peace, someone who's a human rights activist sincerely looking out for the protections of the Palestinian people, was in New York City recently at a Stand With Israel rally. His name is Bassam Eid. He is Palestinian and he grew up in East Jerusalem. He is openly calling out the press to please seek the truth and report the truth about the conditions on the ground for the Palestinian people. His claim is that the truth is being neglected, and it's not simply being neglected because of shoddy reporting. It's being neglected out of an agenda, a pure hatred for Israel, and that this, in fact, actually undermines the plight of his own people. The Palestinians are suffering, but at the hands of their own warring factionist leadership, Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, and other groups vying for power. In fact, it's under Israeli leadership that they find the most safety and the most protections. Recent surveys also indicate that Arab Israelis have, for many years, when asked, would prefer to stay living and prospering under Israeli leadership and not actually become Palestinian citizens. Moreover, Palestinians who commute to Israel for work or who are otherwise engaged in the mainstream Israeli society actually do prefer the Israeli leadership. I personally witnessed this and interviewed people who requested anonymity when I reported on it back in 2008, that they felt much safer and more prosperous living and working under Israeli leadership and actually feared the Palestinian leadership. And this was true for Christian Palestinians as well as Muslim Palestinians. However, this fact is rarely reported in the mainstream press, and some Palestinians won't admit this openly on camera for fear of reprisal. So why is the truth so hard to find in an age of technology, cell phones with video cameras, 24-hour news cycles, connectivity to all kinds of websites where you can post pictures and videos, that the truth is so obscure and hard to find? It's either not reported or it's ignored. I would say the age-old adage in human nature does not transcend any technology. That is, if you repeat a lie often enough and loud enough, people will simply believe it. And this deception method is something Satan has been using in his arsenal of deceit for as long as human history has been recorded. Another tangible example of Al Jazeera, English-speaking website, where they have an online news article. We could expect this from such a site. They have a opening article, paragraph 1, 56 Palestinians dead, 8 Israelis. Other buzzwords in that opening paragraph include excessive force, occupied Palestinian lands, violence prompted by Israelis' policies of restriction on holy sites, and continued taking over of Palestinian lands. This particular verbiage not only obscures the truth, it borderlines on outright lies. As well, the 56 Palestinian versus 18 Israeli dead doesn't put it in any context. In October alone, Israelis suffered 48 stabbings, 5 car rammings, 5 shootings, 11 killed, 153 injured, many of them critically, and 72 treated for shock. These victims were mostly the elderly, young children, young families, mothers, and the perpetrators were generally folks in their late teens and 20s. So you can see by putting the list of Palestinians dead, who were perpetrators of the very least a crime, at the very most a terrorist act, against the number of Israelis killed as victims is an incongruent comparison at best. At what point do we report on any crime being committed where an officer was to neutralize 1 or 2 perpetrators and we say, well, they killed only 3 people, so why did 2 people get killed? Or they only hurt 4 people, so why did 2 people get killed? It's an incongruent statement and it just defies logic. But this mincing of words, this is something that is as old as time that's been recorded. The sophists used this same mincing of words to stop Socrates in his public and eventually his downfall search for truth. The mincing of words is what the Roman leadership did to oppress the Jews in the time of Christ. This same mincing of words is what Esther had to deal with when saving her own people from the first recorded genocide. When Haman used double-speaked and edicts to persecute the Jews, when in fact the Lord, through Esther, ended up outwitting it all. The spirit of deceit stems from the deceiver, and it has no new tricks under the sun, only new technology to use. This reminds me of a passage in Daniel 8, starting with verse 23. In the latter part of their reign, when rebels have become completely wicked, a fierce-looking king, a master of intrigue, will arise. He will become very strong, but not by his own power. He will cause astounding devastation, and he will succeed in whatever he does. He will destroy those who are mighty, the holy people, and he will cause deceit to prosper, and he will consider himself superior. And when they feel secure, he will destroy many and take his stand against the Prince of Princes. Yet he will be destroyed, and not by human power. The visions of the evening and mornings that has been given to you is true, but seal up the vision, for it concerns people of the distant future. I, Daniel, was worn out. I lay exhausted for several days. Then I got up and went about the king's business. I was appalled by the vision. It was beyond understanding. I wonder what Daniel would think about our current press reports of the day. It might be the fulfillment of his words in Daniel chapter 8. Shabbat Shalom.